The pressure to end Russia's war on Ukraine now shifts to Moscow after the U.S. and a Ukrainian delegation agreed to a proposed ceasefire deal. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced the framework of the 30-day pause after a more than 8-hour meeting in Saudi Arabia. The agreement also includes a resumption in U.S. military aid and intelligence sharing. To help us understand what comes next, we turn to Charles Kupchan, Senior Fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations, for tonight's interview. Charles, good to be with you again. What do you make of this deal as you understand it?
It's a pretty big breakthrough. I think the Ukrainians, Zelensky had a gun to his head. Trump said, you need to make a serious offer of peace, or we're not going to keep the flow of aid and intelligence going. Zelensky didn't have a lot of choice. He had his back up against the wall. And I think we saw the results of that today in Saudi Arabia, where the Ukrainians have said very concretely, we're ready for a 30-day ceasefire as long as Russia reciprocates. If that ceasefire, in fact, takes effect, you have a pause, the breathing room to try to negotiate something that's much more long-lasting.
Assess Russia's posture for us and how they would receive this deal and what pressures are on them, or do they feel no pressure?
No, I think there is pressure on Putin. I would say there's maybe a 50-50 chance that this offer flies. Number one, the ball is in Russia's court. Russia doesn't want to be seen as the country that's dragging its feet and responsible for the continuation of the conflict. Number two, I think Putin really wants to work out a good relationship with Trump. This is in some ways his ticket to come in from the cold, to sit again at the table with the big boys. Trump is the person who can provide that. Number three, yes, Putin is willing to continue the war, but this has been painful. Hundreds of thousands of dead and wounded Russians, billions of dollars in defense spending. The Russians are paying a high price for this war. Everything else being equal, Putin may be ready to call it quits.
And is there something that Putin wants in particular in terms of the coming in from the cold? Is there something down the road that he really would benefit from if he was allowed to come in from the cold that might, as you say, put pressure on him with respect to this deal?
Well, I think he has in mind a reset with the United States, a reset with Europe, the coming down of sanctions, the return of Russia to a player in Euro-Atlantic security rather than an object of Euro-Atlantic security. I think the real tough issues will not be the ceasefire, will not be where do you draw the new line. It's the conversations about other things that Putin will ask for, such as Ukrainian neutrality, caps on the size of Ukraine's armed forces, a potential pullback of NATO forces from the eastern flank. I think that Trump, probably pushed by Europeans as well as Zelensky, may say no to those requests. And I'm guessing that the likely outcome here, therefore, may be a ceasefire and an end to the war, but something that looks more like a frozen conflict than a real peace settlement.
And briefly, as the last question, Charles, for Ukrainians, is it about basically territory and security against future Russian aggression?
I think the Ukrainians have come to the realization that they're probably not going to get back Crimea and eastern Ukraine anytime soon. As a consequence, they're pivoting to a new goal, that the 80% of Ukraine that is still free is defensible, secure, and anchored in Europe. That's their new goal.